So today we're going to talk about SR versus Guild X because it was a very, very interesting game, particularly this first map, and really one of the best games of Pearl I think I've seen. Went to round 30, very, very close, very interesting. Also interesting for a couple other reasons as well. Like Guild X were playing a pretty interesting, different comp, where they were playing a Breach and they were playing a Killjoy as well. Two picks, you don't normally see too much on Pearl, and so that just added to it. And we had some crazy, crazy moments, as we will see in some of the clips just here. But let's dive in, and we'll start with one of those crazy clips in round number 6. Guild X are on the attack, and they are just going to do something pretty simple this round, where they're just going to group up and they're just going to come down B long. You'll see this in pro games, a couple times, pretty much from every team. Astra Star here gets recalled, Prowler comes out, the Neon follows it in, Neon stun just here in this corner, Killjoy turret just there watching the flank as well, and everything seems pretty normal as they come and start to scale up onto the site. Neon stuns in here. They're actually against a save this round as well. You'll see that coming in pretty handy. Nano Swarm in there, Breach stun comes in, Fade Horn, Fade Prowler, Aftershock as well, just really stopping this player from being able to really peek. Flash goes in as well, and you see Smurfette comes, gets that first kill off the Breach Flash just there. Really, really good start for Guild, and they're going to get the spike down. At this point, everything looked absolutely fine for them. I mean, this was a bit close as the second smoke comes down just in time, but they have the spike down, right? They're against a save. Everything is fine, you would think. Right, but what's going to happen here is we're going to see SR start to come in. They send the Prowler in. In goes the Neon with the zappy fingers, but does just die there. They put up this nice little Neon wall as well to section off these people obviously playing towards Elbow and the rest of the people outside of Elbow. And Laurie is able to get the first kill of what is about to become a career highlight play, because not only does Laurie get the first one, but then she also gets the second one, and then this is just insane. That shot just there makes it a 1v1 as Ness gets the kill on Flowerful. We end up in this 1v1. Laurie's got, 3 Sheriff headshots at this point. She jumps towards the spike, comes back, kills Ness as well for one of the best Sheriff 4Ks I can remember, to be honest, and an absolute career highlight play that was one of quite a few, and we'll see some of the others as well in just this map. Now let's come to round number 9, and we're going to talk, we're going to see some nice things from a Killjoy as well, and we're going to talk about the importance of certain fights and how not all fights are equal in terms of the likelihood of winning a round, and we're going to see Guild win a very important fight in this one. So Guild are going to start off with something quite interesting. They send this Breach stun in here. They've got an Astro Suck there as well, Fade Horn in here, and the Neon running in behind it. A lot of pressure in there, and this is something that we're doing quite often, where 4 players would stack up and come and take control of A main, whilst you've got the Killjoy turret just watching mid here and the alarm bot watching down B. And you're going to see the effect that this has where, they do get in, and actually it gets a bit dicey, as you can see here, and Shopify players are just able to kind of escape that and get out with their life. You see the KO nade comes in as well because, they were a bit panicked and whatnot. The smoke goes up and it kind of solidifies the position. And now Guild, kind of threaten as if they are going to, come into the site. They actually back out of it. So what's going to happen here is SR now, they're feeling a bit of pressure, obviously, towards A main just here. But this is kind of the beauty of this setup, as you will see, as they actually do back off from this, is that essentially what you've got is, as SR are going to try and push for some extra space, the Killjoy turret is going to, reveal where they are, and they are going to destroy that Killjoy turret and then back off, as they look for that space. And now, obviously, Guild are kind of coming back into that space and re-clearing it. And so at this point, it's kind of a bit up in the air. We've seen kind of the value of what they were doing here, right? They've got control of this A main area. This Killjoy turret has stopped any further pushes up here. They've still got the control of the early B area as well. They're now controlling mid, and now eventually they're going to come and destroy this alarm bot, and SR are going to end up in a position where, they're pretty pushed back. Right, they've taken quite a bit of space here, Guild, and they're going to, threaten to take even more. And so you see that SR, they try to explore towards mid. Oh, we got caught out by the turret. We have to go back. KO knife comes in towards A main, and so now Shopify have the idea of, okay, well, we think they've moved off A main, so let's go and take A main, right? Because they are lacking in that space, and particularly in just a second when this alarm bot is going to go down from the chamber, they're going to be lacking in a lot of space, right? They're going to be lacking a lot of information, and they're going to be pretty pushed back. So, it's a dicey situation, so they decide to push A, but this is going to be so crucial to this round and what happens next, because as these 2 players here come and push towards A, as I said, not all fights are equal, as we'll see here. Ness is in a 1v2, right? This is a pretty bad situation. She's also going to get caught by this Fade Seize that's just been thrown as well, so she gets caught by the Fade Seize, and if Ness loses this fight, this is a very, very different round, because what ends up happening here is this is going to be a flawless round for Guild. If Ness loses this fight, I actually think they probably lose the round, or their chance of winning the round go down significantly. But Ness is going to win this fight. But this is just so, so, so important. And there's no trade either as well as she manages to get behind the box. This is just so, so important to this round, because had Ness died there, right, and there's still 2 people here, now, as Guild, you know, the call has come in to come towards A and you know, come down through Art and make this an A hit. They would have not had a main, right? They wouldn't have known what's going on back here either. So they would have basically had to taken a risk either and try and clear one of these spaces, right? Because you can't live with just having, you know, this space only and being pinched from 2 sides. So they would have had to push one, and, you know, who knows what happens. They may have even planted for CT, and, you know, they're in a 5v4, and it would have just been a much, much harder round to win. I mean, they even have to, you know, try and get out to the back of site, you know, before these players can try and stop them as well. So it just would have been so much more difficult. But because Ness wins that fight, what that's going to do is it's going to push Laurie back, right? Laurie has to go back to try and potentially deal with the main threat here. We're also going to see the value of the Killjoy here with this alarm bot, which is, again, something that they kept doing here, Guild, and I really, really like it, because this is something that you see in a lot of rounds on Pearl, right? These kind of reflanks from defenders or whatnot through these different areas, and just this alarm bot here allows, you're going to see, Roxy here, you know, just be able to turn around and get that kill as the rest of the team is scaling onto the site and kills Laurie as well. And so you see just like all the different elements that, you know, the Killjoy pick as well manages to make it work. You're in a 5v1, of course, you're going to win the round, but that first fight, right, as I said, not all fights are equal, and the fact that they were able to win that fight and you know, get that first kill on the board and crucially control that A main space still and push the defenders back into a terrible position on site, just really led to this round being a flawless one. Whereas, you know, if they just lose that first fight, they probably lose this round, which is a crazy thing, right, to go from a flawless to a round loss just off the basis potentially of one fight. And now let's come to the other side. So we're on round 19 here. Guild are now defending. SR are now on the attacking side. And you guys know that anytime there's some weird picks or picks that, you know, you don't often see, I like to highlight what they were doing with them. And we're going to see that in this round as well, with both the Killjoy and the Breach having a pretty big impact, and what is actually a save round here for Guild, but one that they're going to manage to win. With a stun down here from the Breach, the Neon is going to ult in behind it and manage to get 2 kills, as you will see. And then we'll also see the value of the Killjoy as well. So yeah, in we go. In goes that Breach stun. You see it go off just there, and Smurfette is just able to beat that Neon stun, managed to get 1 and then the second kill as well, and we end up in a 3v4. Great start, particularly on a save for the side of Guild. So SR just decide to react pretty quickly and just, you know, push down towards A, as they feel like, okay, you've pushed towards mid, and the turret obviously allows them to view that. In they come, and they are going to manage to get the spike down in this 4v3. But what's crucial here to this round, or will become crucial, is this alarm bot again, and we saw it pretty much being used, you know, once the spike had gone down in that last round. This time it's going to be used defensively, but exactly the same purpose, right? That in Pearl, right, it's very, very common to see people, you know, reflank and try and come through, you know, these different areas of the map and whatnot. And so just having an alarm bot there to watch your back, very, very important. So the spike is going to go down, and SR, again, you know, they want a bit more space. They want to try and take a fight. But you're going to see some good awareness here as well, right? By Claudia here, she's going to see, you know, she's just jump peeking, right? Sends the Prowler out, sees that someone is pushing her, right? Sends out the Fade Horn as well. And then, you know, they think, you know, that this Breach stun, they're going to try and swing with the Breach stun in this instance. Unfortunately, it's just obviously a bit too far ahead, and they manage to get that kill. But we get a very, very intelligent Astral, particularly having seen that it is 2 people back there, right? You get a very, very nice Astral to just section them off from the spike. And so now, obviously, the pressure is kind of on SR that they can't really see what's going on. And now what you're going to see is we did get a big reflank from SR as well, you know, coming all the way around here, and that alarm bot though is going to alert Guild that that is on the way, and so straight away the Astra turns and is able to get a nice kill there. We get a player trying to run through the Astra ult as well, and now I would like this from Guild as well, you know, just grouping up, staying together as they get on this defuse. Great Astral in this round. They managed to win on the save, and they played this pretty well, and I thought we saw in this round, you know, both the Breach and the Killjoy kind of, you know, really helping Guild to win this round. And now let's come to round 24 for another one of those highlight plays, because well, we'll just take a look, because what's going to happen in this one, and I thought this was a bit interesting, because here Guild do have the Killjoy lockdown, and they are going to use it this round. But just the way that they kind of started off, I thought they might play this round a bit differently, knowing that they do have a Killjoy lockdown, right? You might be a bit more willing to play for this retake, but you're going to see as SR just come down B, and that's going to be their play here in this final round in regulation. They are just going to come down. Neon Wall comes across, Fade Haunt goes up, but they are going to try and, defend the site, right? Not really play for that full retake, be in these positions where you're going to have to take a fight eventually, and they end up losing that first fight just there. Smurfette is able to get one, and then Claudia gets one, but, they are fighting for the site at this point, and we end up in this situation, a 3v2, before that Killjoy lockdown could come down, and I did think, maybe they will go for the lockdown, and play more for kind of a 5v5 retake, right, where all 5 players. So in comes this lockdown, right, and it is a very good lockdown as well, that's going to force all of the players back here, right? It just gives you a lot of space, pretty much exactly where they're going to be. There really is only one spot that they could go to at this point, right? And so, it's just a very, very effective Killjoy lockdown on this retake for just helping you. But still, it's a 3v2, and the spike is planted for long as well. So, it's still not a great situation, you would say here, but Roxy is about to go insane. Let's just put it that way. We get some nice Breach Flash and Aftershock in there as well. But Roxy, you're going to see, is about to hit 2 insane shots, and I will show you the replay as well just to show how insane it was. But yeah, again, another highlight reel play here for Roxy going forward, as they eventually do get on the spike, hits that shot just there, and then does that as well, and they manage to win the round and take us to overtime. But I will just show you the replay as well. So here is the replay for Roxy. That was the first kill, but just take a look at these 2 shots here. 1 and then 2. Isn't that just a nice little thing to have? To always just look back on and just know that you did that. And I never will be able to. And then let's come to round 30, the final round of the game, where we'd gone back and forth in overtime, but eventually SR would manage to close out the game with this round. I do, and we kind of saw it in the last round as well, think that poor Ness here is having to defend this B long on her own. Which is quite the task, right? This is not an easy spot to be for anyone, let alone just an Astra. I know that, like if we watch Optic, for instance, something that they would do back in the day, the old Optic roster, is they put Ye and Marv here to defend B quite often. So, basically their best 2 aimers, you're both going to defend this B long position. We're going to make this like something that we are really trying to defend with our, 2 best aimers and just, try and destroy you coming down this way. But, poor Ness here is just on her own, and that did lead to, quite a few situations, as we kind of saw in the last round as well, where there just isn't really a great way to defend it. And I was trying to think, with the Breach, is this the best comp for like retaking on B with a solo Astra, right? It's not terrible, but, maybe isn't the best either necessarily. And so eventually SR, they're just going to come in and, do their normal kind of exec just there. Ness actually gets revealed by the Fade Horn and actually lives, I think, on 1 HP, which, isn't ideal. And so, yeah, I just thought that some of those things weren't maybe ideal. And what happens here, though, is actually what we're going to see is they struggle to get the spike down, right? They do struggle to get this spike down as they've been revealed by the Fade Horn, and then a Breach Stun comes in. And then we get this fight here. Roxy manages to kill Benito, who's trying to come on that flank. And so now it's a 5v4 for Guild, and it actually looks like a good situation. But this is where SR, were, I think, pretty impressive. They're in this 4v5, and so what do they decide to do? There's still plenty of time left on the clock. They decide 4v5, we need to take a risk, we need to get aggressive. It's no good planting in a 4v5 here when we've got the time to try and make a difference. And so what they do is they're going to fake the spike and go and attack instead, right? The call comes in, and you just see as a team, they are ready to just attack. They tap the spike, in goes the stun, and they get that trade just there. And then Sunder just keeps going, right? And just keeps going, manages to get 2 kills. And all of a sudden, now you're in a 3v2. Now you plant, right? And I think that this is something that, again, you can definitely use in your games, right? That if you are finding yourself in those situations, don't be afraid to go and attack before you plant the spike, right? Just because you're on the site doesn't mean you have to plant. Go and look for that kill if you're in a bad situation. And you see it ends up working here for SR as Sunder goes massive, manages to get a 4K in the last round, and SR would manage to win this game. A very, very close map, one of the best maps of Pearl I think I've seen so far, and a very interesting one as well. But SR, in the end, managed to come out on top, and they would win the series eventually as well, 2-1.